Welcome to the Clinical Practice Competencies Form tutorial. My name is Lori Call. I am faculty at Point Loma Nazarene University in the Education Department, and I support candidates going through their student teaching portion, the clinical practice portion of their credential and seminar. And what I want to do is go over the competencies forms to be sure that you understand what is required of you. You each need to complete your competency form for wherever it is you're going to be getting your credential, whether it's multiple subject, special ed, mild, mod, severe, or perhaps it's single subject in one particular subject. So what I want to do first is start by showing you and reminding you where the PLNU Clinical Practice website is. Here's the address up here at the top, plnuclinicalpractice.com. I'm going to select Bakersfield as I have here, and then I'm going to be going in and looking at your forms. I'm going to just kind of walk you through the regular forms that so you know where they live, but also then showing you where the competency form sits. So here is, when you click on the teacher candidates, this is the section for you here with all of these buttons, options over here, including the intern handbook, clinical practice handbook as well, and task stream, which you will need to upload everything into to apply for your credential. So make sure you have a task stream account. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to click on teacher candidate forms. You are more than likely keeping a digital binder at this point because we are all working from home during COVID-19 right now. So all the copies of everything you need in your binder are here. So the first one is Clinical Practice Binder Checklist here. It's if you are a traditional, you're going to use the top one, intern, bottom. Here's a copy of the log, remembering that you are keeping track of your log hours. To total 520 for both quads, plus the 80 for the previous fieldwork you've done, to total 600 between all three. Your daily lesson plans. This is a template provided by the university. You can use your school or district templates for lesson plans, daily lesson plans, if you get approval from Dr. Jill Hamilton Bunch. So you can either mail that to me at lcall@pointloma.edu, and I'll pass it on to her, or to Dr. Jill Hamilton Bunch. Then you have your formal lesson unit plans. You must use the Point Loma UDL instructional plan, which is here. You should be fairly familiar with that. And then you will need the analysis and reflection conference guide. This is what you complete after your observation, your formal observation, and you do this on paper digitally if your teacher came and observed, your supervisor, came and observed you live stream on Zoom or in Google Hangout, or came live to your classroom. If they did not, and you recorded your lesson and you uploaded into SIBME, then this will be taking place by annotations in SIBME, so you know the difference between the two. And then here are the rest of the forms here that you will need. This weekly progress and reflection report is supposed to be done every Friday. This is only for traditional students, where your mentor teacher fills it out and you kind of go over how you're growing and your areas of need growth. Then down here are the cycle guides for you to use in each sections, and also the permission slips for filming students, and attestation administrator release forms down here for you as well. So in order to get to the competencies, we're going to go back to the main Bakersfield page. And your university supervisor is the person who is housing this competency form. But I'm going to show you where it is so that you know, in case your university supervisor has forgotten or is new. We're going to go to University Supervisor Forms, click on Forms. And here are the documents that the university supervisor needs. So this is the formative assessment summary they will fill out when they observe you. If they do it through video loaded into SIBME, then it will be done through annotations. These assessments are done digitally, a pre, a mid, and a final. And then here's where the multiple subject competency forms sit. So we've got a multiple subject, we've got special ed, and then we've got single subject by subject down here. So if you are multiple subject, for example, you will need to download this form, and then it needs to be kept and filled in by your university supervisor over both quads of your clinical practice. It should not be completed in one only quad. It should be completed over 2. So let me show you what this looks like here for the first multiple subject competency form. So if you take a look at this, you will not find on here ELA and math, because ELA and math are assessed through the TPA, the cycle 1, okay, or cycle 2. So you will not need that. But we do need to be able to assess you for the other content areas. So for example, science is the first. Then the second would be history, social science, social studies. And the third would be PE, which many of us don't complete PE. At our school, we often have a PE teacher or someone who completes that portion of it. Therefore, your PE will need to be coordinated with your PE teacher on campus, or you make a lesson plan for PE that you take your students outside to complete. Now, during our remote learning time period right now, this may get tricky, so doing something like a health lesson at this point, focusing on this particular competency here, and then completing it the next quad, hopefully that will be in person on campuses again, would probably be the way to go. So that's PE, and then the last is visual and performing arts, and it breaks it down. So your whole purpose here is to get a 3 or above in order to be able to say you have completed that particular competency. So, for example, standards here, you need to get average competency or excellent competency in order to say, okay, I'm done with that one, now move on. Keep in mind that many of these competencies would come into play 2 or 3 of them at a time, perhaps, in one lesson. So trying to hit these as many as you can, target them within your 4 observations would be very wise and the way to go. And remember that you can complete these over both quads of your clinical practice, seminar and student teaching. Keep that in mind. So let's go back now and let's take a look at mild mod. There is also one for mild mod and mod severe. So here is the assessment competency for mild mod. There'd be a separate one for mod severe. So you need to represent and show that you are a 3 with average competency in each of these areas. And then also for language arts, for if you are, example, single subject, of course it could be any subject, right? But this happens to be the example of ELA. So these are the competencies for language arts. You would need to be able to show that you know with average competency or excellent competency. So these are the competencies for those. So you need to go over these with your supervisor, be sure you understand what is expected, and make sure you plan a way for them to see each of these within your lessons, okay? And that you, once again, don't complete it in one quad, that you complete it in both. All right, so hopefully that gives you a little background on your competencies. Ask your supervisor or myself about them. Lori Call is my name again. I'm faculty, and I will be happy to help you and explain it to you in more detail if it is still confusing. Good luck in your journey.